Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, everybody. We are back to our regular conversation here. Last week we gave a break to Wanderley and Nate. Both are on a break. Otherwise, they're gonna sue me, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so last week we had that insight from Tanya in order to give us an idea, an approach how to deal with the, let's call it young minds. Let's use the expression she used, the young minds, which is important for us. And she will finish the idea on this Thursday, and it's gonna be good because we will have opportunity to ask questions. Okay, we thought to give this because we have seen a lot of parents struggling with homeschooling, work from home, plus not going out, and so on. So that's a kind of contribution we think we could give to everyone. So anyway, hello to our friends in Ireland, our Irish friends. Thank you very much for being here with us. Hello, our friends from UK. Elsa is already here. Nice to see you, Elsa. Thank you very much. Our friends from Portugal, from Brazil, from Poland, and especially our friends from America. So thank you very much for being here with us today. It's good, things getting back on track in Texas. Almost the snow already melted, but the lesson is there. No, we need to be prepared for everything. Not like you, Don. Your pipes is already freezing. You know, and your pipes already freezing, so don't freeze, so it's good. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for being here. And today we're gonna talk about an important topic. We can call these the predecessors of the Spiritism. And I leave this in the air here. What do you think? Who were the predecessors of the Spiritism? So, why do you think we're gonna go to our initial prayer? Don says everything is good today, sunny and 40 degrees. Happy days, my friend. So, time to stretch the legs.
Lucky Don.
Walk around. You know, we just have the wonderful news here in Ireland. Our lockdown was extended to 5th of April. So, yeah? My gosh. No? So, we are locked at home since January. And now we're going to stay another month locked.
More than a year.
There we go. It is what it is. We have to learn. And Don, enjoy the sun and stretch your legs, as I said, on our behalf, because we cannot go out. It's today we had Irish weather, windy, wet weather. But yesterday was good. Yesterday I went to do something. So, okay. Let's do the initial prayer. Wanderley, you were on holidays, so...
Okay, I do it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. For those who feel comfortable, I would like to ask you, to invite you to close your eyes, to take a deep breath, try to concentrate at this present moment, trying to remember how good life is, even once you have difficulties to face. Let's try today to open our hearts and our minds in order to understand a little bit more about the Spiritism teachings, the works of Allan Kardec, and the gospel of our Master Jesus. May the good spirits be with us and help us to understand as much as we can from these beautiful teachings. Thank God, and so be it.
Okay, great. So, have you guys had a time to think about who were the predecessors of the Spiritism? I know many, but someone who starts to build the idea of the spiritual world, the Spiritism. And we talk about here an ancient philosopher called Socrates and Plato. Okay? Everything we are saying here, you can find this in the introduction of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Here, the book. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So here the book. I have done my homework. See? So you will find this in the introduction of, and again, neither Wanderley nor we are not philosophers. We didn't study philosophy. This is our own understanding. So don't think we're gonna give here a philosophy discussion here, but we will try our best to make sense and put what makes sense in our head to you. So the question perhaps you were asking to yourself is why Socrates and Plato were considered the predecessors or precursors of the Christian idea and the Spiritism. Not just the Spiritism, the Christian idea, the Spiritism. So I did introduction already. So we want to,
Yep.
to take from here, or you want me
No,
to?
it's okay. But just before we go, I would like to invite you, anyone who has the gospel according to Spiritism, to study even before, because before we have here some explanations from Kardec and the spirits, where they go to several terms, such as tax collectors, such as the Essenians, such as some Sadducees. So, because a lot of these terms, they have been changed their meaning throughout history, but here the Spiritists, they bring a meaning which is closer to the time of Jesus. Okay, so just before we go to this part, I would invite anyone who wants to know a little bit more according to the Spiritism teachings to see this part. But when Stevan says that Plato and Socrates, they are the predecessors of Spiritism, as Stevan said, that's not what we believe. That's again according to the gospel according to Spiritism. But why does the Spirit say that to us? Because once we take, even if we are not like a deep study, we don't have a deep knowledge of the work of Socrates and Plato, according to history, both of them, they believe in the spiritual world. They believed that the soul itself needed several times needed several lives, several times here on earth with a physical body in order to progress. That also once they passed away, they would stay somewhere that in that time of Socrates and Plato, they used to call the Hades. So what we can call nowadays the Inferno or Hell. Okay, so according to them, in their Greek tradition, that people who are here on earth living and they didn't perfect themselves as much as they should, they stay in that area and they come back to live again so many times, as many times as they need to. So these ideas, it's not the Spiritists, they are from Socrates and Plato, from their works. But once we change several names, several terms here, we go back to more or less what Jesus explained to us with different words, of course. Let's remember that Socrates and Plato and Jesus, they have more or less between 500 and 400 years difference, okay? And also they have the cultural aspect, the different cultural aspect. But more or less, if you forget about the names and the traditions, either Socrates and Plato and Jesus, they said, we must live, we must fix ourselves here on earth or in somewhere else, which we call spiritual world. Then Kardec comes, when I mean Kardec, I'm talking about the spirits through Kardec, because Kardec is just the postman. Let's not forget this. That's not his ideas. Kardec is just bring the ideas from the spirits. But did Kardec bring the idea only from one spirit? If Kardec had done that, I don't believe Spiritism nowadays would be so popular and growing as much as it is. But Kardec was a ascetic man. He was a man of science. He was a man of philosophy. So he understood that only if one person, even if he believed in the communication from the spirits, gave one message, that message should not be considered as an entire truth. Why? Because only came from one source, one medium and one spirit. But Kardec was smarter. He wasn't like Stevan and me. Kardec got messages from different mediums, coming from different spirits with the same meaning, the same idea behind. So, sorry, Stevan.
No, I would say let's.
Did I go too far?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Let's start with. Let's start with the first thing which calls attention here.
Okay.
Why? Let's try to explain here why they are considered the precursors of Christian ideas and Spiritism. Okay, and there is a statement in the first essay: great ideas never appear suddenly. Okay, so like when those who are married, when your wife something, she starts to tell you something today, then something tomorrow, then something another day, then something the other day, and go on until she reads what she wants. Or sometimes a person who used to lie, they sometimes they catch themselves believing in their lies because they are repeating this all the time. Okay, and we saw these lessons being repeated several times. Like we had Plato and Socrates. Wanderley said just before we get in here, Buddha. Again, guys, it's not the same ideas, comma by comma, period by period. It is the principle of the idea. Okay, so what happened? They come in order to introduce the ideas, in order to start with the ideas. Okay, and we can see what Wanderley said here. Socrates, he didn't write anything. Everything we know about Socrates was written by Plato. Okay, but he used the same principle, which later in the Spiritist magazine, Kardec called the universal spiritual. No, what's the name?
Universal principle of truth
of the spirits. Universal control of the spirits. What it is? He used in order to getting the message as a truth, he used to he raised a lot of questions, and he sent these questions to different mediums, different where with no connection among those mediums. Okay, and when they send the answers, he just put it together which answers were in the same meaning, telling the same thing. So once we have in a criteria more same kind of answers, Kardec used this as a common sense. So this is the universal control of the spirits. Okay? So far, Wanderley, okay?
Yeah, but let me just make a point, Stevan, for what you just said, and I was saying before. Yeah. Let's remember, guys, that Kardec wasn't asking simple questions.
Exactly.
Yes, he asked sometimes simple questions just to try to see if the spirits, they were really saying the truth. Sometimes Kardec was like more or less trying to get the spirit to see if he was playing or not. Kardec asked very, very meaningful and difficult questions. And as Stevan was saying, to different mediums, to different, coming from different spirits around Europe and America mainly in that time, because that was the well-known word. But the replies, the answers, sometimes they are over like a 2 or 3, 4 paragraphs, depends on the question. And more or less, the replies, they are very similar. They are not like written exactly the same, but the same meaning is there. So it was quite complex. It's not something quite simple, like asking, is that blue or is that red? That wasn't the type of the questions.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, the humankind, they have limitations. What are the limitations? They didn't have the same vocabulary as we have now. Neither Kardec. Okay, so they didn't have electricity or internet. So they used to explain things like this with their own words. Okay, and that's the limitation we need to understand here. And like we can see, Socrates used to have, let's say, wise conversation with people. He used to ask questions, understanding their reply. For Socrates, for example, there is no right or wrong. That is just your point of view. When you say something, and his mission is to get in your mind, understand why you're thinking like that. He is not proving that you are wrong. He just wants to understand why you built that train of thought. Okay. So and we can see here. Socrates used like some methods, like the Socratic methods, the theory of forms, and the allegory of the cave, and the fourth stage of cognition. That's the methods Socrates used. Okay, the Socratic methods, it is the same things are the universal control of the spirits. Asking questions, going this, see the similarities, find the people will have the same knowledge, the same idea, and then develop a theory. Okay. The fourth stage of cognition, it is the intelligible word, which he calls the noesis, knowledge, and word of doxia, and imagining. Wanderley is looking.
No, I think you. I mean, I'm not Thanks for the explanation, but
Yeah.
I understand you heard what you are doing, but maybe we are going too far. But maybe the idea here is to bring that Socrates, Plato, Kardec, and Jesus, and Krishna, Buddha, Mohammed, or many other ones who came before and after Jesus, they brought the same idea. But the same idea with different, as Stevan said, different backgrounds. So Buddha cannot talk about the dry weather of Samaria or from Nazareth. If Buddha was from a nice cool climate in Asia. So what did Buddha do? He brought the same truth, the same idea, using his surroundings. Jesus did the same. Socrates did the same. Kardec went further, because the time of Kardec, science and knowledge, the moral knowledge, was perhaps much better than the time of Jesus, for example. But what all of them they had in common, as Stevan said, that all of them, they asked questions. They understood that the time which they were living, the truths which people used to believe didn't make sense. So they questioned that the truths of the time and said there must have something else rather than this, rather than only the physical life. All of them, including Socrates and Plato, they believe in the afterlife. So all of them were talking about very similar things, or perhaps the same thing without different, with using different words. It's like if I'm seeing the sun outside with this thing here, which I call gel, a filter in my glass. So I'm gonna see the word a bit orange. But if I take the same plastic but pink, I'm gonna see the word pink. So they use their knowledge and their surroundings to explain the same thing. And that's the beauty between all of them. But all of them, they explain the same thing, that we keep coming, we're gonna keep coming here, reincarnating several times until we perfect ourselves, until we learn how to be good with each other.
Yeah, we can see here, Cleide from Brazil, from São Paulo, says Plato's myths are connected with Spiritism.
Yeah.
We can see some principles here. For example, the allegory of the cave. Okay, it's a perfect explanation between spiritual world and material world. Okay, so what this mean? Okay, imagine you are in a cave. Okay, you go deep inside the cave, and you have some people sitting with a fire. Okay, and they are seeing their shadow. Okay, so they only see the shadow. Okay, and they believe that it is the truth. It is the real world. Okay, but let's say we will take someone of this group inside the cave, out of the cave. Okay, so this person will the brightness will hit his eyes. He will not see for some time. He needs to get used to. When he is used to it, he will see a different world, full of color, full of life, let's say. It's not that dark and yellowish or reddish caused by the fireplace. So he will be amazed. He'll say, wow, what a beautiful thing. It's amazing. And you say, hey, let's go back to the cave. He'll say, no, I don't. I don't want to go back to the cave. I want to be here. Okay, it's like us when we are in the spiritual world. We are in our home, and you say, "Hey, you need to reincarnate." What's the first reaction you're going to say? No way, no way. I need more time. I need a little bit of time. So give me 20 more years, please. And let's say, at the end we need to reincarnate. And let's say that person returned to the cave. And when returning to the cave, he will start to tell everyone, hey, I'm seeing a beautiful world full of joy, brightness. The sky is blue. There are animals. There are trees. There are this. Nobody will believe him. So it is what, and also he will have his own vision. So this allegory of the cave is the principle to explain our life today. Because we are inside the cave, seeing our shadows. Meanwhile, the spiritual world, it's outside. And we need to go for it.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, we are just seeing what is superficial, like they were in the cave. They are not seeing what is real life. They are not seeing what is the reality for them. And also, that is the other level, not of what they are seeing, but their level of fear. It's like Stevan was saying. So those who are in the cave, they are afraid to go outside, because that person is saying, it's so beautiful outside, the sun is hot, there is something called trees, there is animals outside, and that person doesn't believe. Why? Because for us to leave the cage, we have to leave also our fear behind. So we are afraid of progressing because we want to stay here in matter. Because on matter, we have our cars, our possessions, we have our physical body. We want to be attached to it. But if we knew what is outside, I mean, outside of the cave, so if we knew about the spiritual world, we would want to go back to the spiritual world. That's why Stevan said, once you are in the spiritual world, of course, if you are more or less a good spirit, or a spirit who is trying to get to improve, you're gonna be in a situation that you don't want to leave that peace or that place. You don't want to go back to earth because you don't want to suffer anymore. Of course, the same applies to the opposite. If you are a spirit who are in the spiritual world and you had several incarnations only making several mistakes, let's just make clear, mistakes. There is no pecados or in English now the word sin.
Sins.
There is no sins. There is no sins. Okay, guys? That's why I'm saying mistakes. Because there is no such thing as sins or pecados, whatever. So once you are the spiritual world in that level, you want to go back straight away to earth, because you know that once you come back to earth, you may have a chance to have another life, to work again. So that will depend on the spirit. Stevan is talking about the more or less good to high spirits, who for them to come to live on earth, it's a trial as an expiation, as the gospel and the Spirit's book explains to us. But for a spirit who is suffering, it's an opportunity. So everything's a matter of the way that you perceive things, the way that you see things.
Yeah, just going through this, we need to remember, this is in the Spirit's book, we were created simple and ignorant. Okay? Simple ignorant. It means no knowledge, nothing. We will start to develop our knowledge once we have our free will, and then we make our choices. What Wanderley says is completely right. Incarnate is not a punishment. Incarnate is an opportunity to work some virtues we need to work. Okay? So there is no punishment. It is just a way in which we choose, okay, I need to work this virtue here, I will incarnate, I will go through these trials, and let's see how it go on. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes not, based on your free will. And what makes all these harder is the fear. It is the fear. Fear is the worst feelings which push us back, like the fear to get out of the cave, because we don't know what's we're gonna see. But when I see, it's wonderful. Okay, when you are in the spiritual world, you want to reincarnate, you have fear. No, I want to go there because I'll be close. I want to go inside the cave again because there is no window, no fresh air. So I'm gonna suffer. It's fear. Fear, it is something who hold us back a lot. How many opportunities you missed because you had fear to give this step further? How many times we are paralyzed by fear? We cannot do anything because we have fear. Okay. Also, we can see some similarities in what Socrates gave to us here. For example, the human being is an incarnated soul. He gave it this. It's something matched with the Spiritism teachings. A second one is the soul wanders and becomes confused when it's used the body in order to consider any object. Again, sometimes you don't know where you are. For those who are mediums, for example, like Divaldo. Divaldo sometimes he don't drive because he can see spirits, and he doesn't know if what he's seeing is a spirit or an incarnated person. No, those who watched the movie Divaldo, he used to work in a government department, and several times came people asking for information, and they were spirits. They were not real people. Like say, not real people, incarnated people. Okay. So, third thing, while we have our body, and as long as our soul is immersed in this corruption, we will never possess the object of our desire, the truth. Yep. Again, materialism, attached to the material world, attached with your possessions, mine, my car, my house, my son, my daughter, my job, my friend, my this, my that. You know, once we are attached to this, and as much as we are attached to this mind, it means more difficulties we will have to live in the spiritual world.
And Stevan, it's just for people to understand, as we said so many times here before, at least I say that, I'd say every week, guys, there is no problem related to the material things. You can have your car, you can have your nice house, you can have your nice iPhone, you can have like the camera that you want, like my case. Okay, guys, but what Stevan says like this, for the spirits, that's what Plato said. For the spirit to keep progressing, the spirit can use the material things, like in the time of Plato, perhaps they didn't have an iPhone, but they have a nice tunic, they have a nice meal, you know, or they have a nice cup of silver where they can put their wine. You could enjoy all that things. The problem which Plato said, and Spiritism said, and Jesus said so many times is this: once you pass away, once you die, do not want yourself to be holding that things. Let it go. Go, keep going the process of the soul. So keep going. So once we pass away, we cannot go, we cannot cross the river, like the Greeks they used to say, to cross the river of death, holding things which they don't belong to the spiritual world. We have to leave these things behind and keep going. If you want to still have the pleasures that we had on earth, if you want to still have the things that we had on earth, we are not able to cross properly to the other side. That's what Plato is saying to us. That's why once we have these material attachments, it's harder for us to keep going. So we can have everything, but let's not be too attached to these things.
Yeah, no, it is. Wanderley is completely right. Okay, another similarity. The Imperial Soul in this state is weighed down and is once again pulled to the visible world through the horror of that which is invisible and immaterial. So, the Imperial Soul is in the state of weighed down, okay? So, and then we're talking about the spirits who are attached to the earth, and they are surrounded by the feeling of vengeance, feeling of selfishness, feeling of not imperfection. What's the word?
But there is still kind of feeding their vices.
Yeah,
they don't want to let their vices go. They want to keep feeding that vices they have.
Yeah. So we have seen, and that's why in the medium meetings we have seen a lot of this people, mediums who are channeling those spirits, and they are suffering. They go through some explanation. They understand. They are rescued by the Samaritans, by other high evolved spirits, in order to keep going, understanding all this situation. Once they understand the situation, by their free will, they say, okay, I need to fix that feeling. I need to fix that virtue. Then we need to reincarnate. I'm talking about here a spirit who is evolved enough in order to understand this. Okay? So we need to figure out how it works. And again, all this we are saying here was said by Socrates and Plato, and we are seeing similarities in the Spiritism and in the Christians' ideas.
Yeah, but Stevan, it's interesting because a lot of times they started to disassociate the ideas from Plato to Christianity, because in their mind, Plato and Socrates was philosophy, and the teachings of Christianity was a religious. So for them, we are having this problem like for, I don't know, centuries and thousands of years, because they want to separate what is religion and what's philosophy.
But I would say what I'm saying here is Christian ideas, not religion.
No, I agree with you, but what I'm saying to you is people, they mix these things. They think in their mind a Christian religion, it's a Christian idea, it's a religion. So if it's religion, no, I don't want this. I want to go to stay in the philosophical aspect, or maybe in the scientific aspect. So they are saying the same thing, or more or less the same thing. People, they want to split, and that's the problem that we are having, and that we're gonna see in the first chapter of the Gospel according to Spiritism. I know we are not talking about the first chapter, but what I'm trying to say is this: the ideas are the same, but we have this preconception, this pre-idea that that's good and that's bad, just because they come from different source, they come from the different messenger, but the idea is the same. So why is that bad and why is that good?
Yeah. And okay, guys, if you have any questions, please speak up. And let's see the other similarity here. After our death, the spirit daimon, who had been assigned to us during life, leads us to a place where all those who must be taken to Hades are gathered in order to be judged. So, again, we can see the word here, daimon, misunderstanding, because daimon doesn't mean demon. Okay? Diamond, it could be, if we replace this diamond, the word diamond, by the word spirits. Okay?
Yeah.
So after that, the spirit who had been assigned to us during life leads us to a place where all those who must be taken to Hades are gathered in order to be judged. It's not to be judged, our conscience we will rely on, based on what we have done in our previous life when we were incarnated. So, in other words, what you have done while you were in the cave, what attitudes, what you did to the others, what you have learned, what you have practiced there. So, this, what you have done in the cave, you are responsible for. And we are the only ones who will answer the questions and perhaps undergo to some trials in order to fix sentiment, the feelings, fix knowledge, conceptions from us, from we have acquired. Let me see what more here. The constant preoccupation of philosopher, as understood by Socrates and Plato, is to take greater care of the soul and less care of this life, which is only an instant from the perspective of eternity. Again, here is just a passage. Here is just, what is our life compared to the eternity? Nothing. A second.
Yeah.
What more? If the soul is immaterial, then after this life it must go to a world that is equally invisible and immaterial. The same way that the body upon its decomposition returns to matter. This is said by Socrates. And it is, okay, is material, our body is material, is going to be decomposed, returns to the earth. The spirit belongs to the spiritual world, returns to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
You know? So it's the same principle, guys.
And of course, as the ideas, they are very similar, and Jesus have this idea, was this, he explains that to God, what's his name now? Disappear now. Oh God. Now the one that he says that they must be reborn from water. Oh God, give me a blank now. The Pharisee. Anyway, Jesus talks this in the Bible with one of the Pharisees, Nicodemus. So Jesus was saying what Socrates and Plato was saying to Nicodemus in a different way. Then Kardec explains again things in a different way. But all of them, they said about the same thing. What is from the spiritual world, as Stevan will say, is from the spiritual world. What is from matter is from matter. At the time that we want to have both at the same time and keep having the matter in the spiritual world or vice versa, then you are in trouble. So you must accept the stage that you are. Give to life what is to belong to, give to this material life what belongs to this material life, and give to the spiritual life what belongs to the spiritual life. If you want to have both, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to be lost. You're going to be in the middle of the cave, we can put it this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it is. No, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, you guys are very quiet, you know? Or we... And then another teaching here. If that were the complete dissolution of a person, it would be a great gain from evil ones. Because after their death, they would all at once be free from their bodies, souls, and vices. Spiritism.
Yeah.
Spiritism. Okay. So we have here many of them. I just went to. These are like this one here. One should never return injustice for injustice, nor do evil to anyone, whatever may be the evil they have done to us. You know this lesson? You know?
Jesus said that, Buddha said that. In the Hinduism, we have that with Krishna. We have that with many other prophets, many other philosophers, with scientists saying the same nowadays, people who don't believe in anything religious at all. Why? Because that is something which is common for all of us. To do goodness, to do not act, to not react, but to act, and to act in the best way possible. So these things, they come from the same source of truth. But as we were saying here, the way that people present that truth because of their glasses is different. But if you really take the letter from this, and if you just think about the message, it's the same thing.
Exactly. Another great here. It is by its fruits that the tree is known. Jesus said that. No?
That, yeah.
The tree is known by its fruit. So,
yeah.
Okay. I think that another one. Virtue cannot be taught. It comes as a gift from God to those who possess it. So, virtue is something we acquire, we work, and we will not get a virtue in just one incarnation. Perhaps we needed many incarnations to work that virtue. But we conquer that virtue. It's not given by God. Again, we were created simple and ignorant. There is no way we were perfect and we did something wrong and we fall.
Or with knowledge also, Stevan. Talking about Socrates and Plato, remember the medium's book? Kardec tries to talk to a spirit, and the spirit say, "Oh, I'm Socrates." And Kardec said, "Oh, you are Socrates. Oh, nice. So why don't you say something Greek for me, the Greek of the time of Plato?" And the spirit says, "Yeah, actually, I don't really remember, because here in the spiritual world, I don't use anymore." So Kardec could understand that the spirit was an ignorant spirit. It was a pseudo-savvy spirit.
Because Kardec understood Genesis.
I think it's in the medium's book, the last chapter.
Yeah,
I think it's in the medium's book, if I'm not mistaken. So Kardec understood that, such as Stevan was saying, as a virtual knowledge also, the spirit doesn't forget. The spirit keeps all the knowledge and devices and the good things which he acquired throughout the reincarnations. So he cannot forget things. It's impossible. Not in the spiritual world, at least. You know?
Yeah, and don't say here. Finally, someone say something here. Thank you, Don. Jesus' teachings were introduced earlier to build up the ideas in the minds of people so they would be easier to accept. Exactly. And we are in this process. It's not because it was done by Socrates, then Jesus, then Buddha. No. We are still not accepting. We are still not having these ideas accept. What I'm saying here is we do have the same teachings in the Western world. Okay? In order to be this, you don't need to believe in Jesus or be a Christian. What we are saying here is the concept. The concept is timeless. The concept is there is no place, nowhere. So the concept is the same. That's what we are saying. It's not because in the Western world they do not accept Jesus or they don't recognize Jesus, but they have these principles in their life and they practice these. They are perhaps more knowledgeable than you who accept Jesus, for example. So we need to understand what is, like Wanderley said, what is the postman? The postman just delivers the message, but what's the message itself?
Yeah.
We need to understand the message itself.
Yeah, because when Stevan says, just for we don't want to hear to say, oh, you should accept Jesus. No, you shouldn't accept anything that you want. It's, you have the free will. But what is Stevan says, that we should, once we accept the teachings which is brought to us, once we forget about the dogmas which doesn't come from Jesus. These dogmas, these harsh ideas were created by people after his death, and people, they start to bring certain ideas which is not from Jesus. They brought some dogmas which is not from Jesus. That's why people, they are a bit away of the Jesus ideas, but forget about the religious figure of Jesus and think about his ideas. That's why in the Gospel According to Spiritism introduction, Kardec says that, okay, you don't believe in the miracles, that's fine. You don't believe in these things that happened in that time, it's fine. You don't believe in the religious aspect, it's fine. But what no one normally, what everyone normally agree is in the moral teachings of Jesus. That no one can say, oh, that's good and that's bad. No, most of the people, they accept, oh yes, the moral teachings from that man is good. So forget about the religious things. If you don't want to believe in anything religious, that's okay. But try to take the message, the beauty, the teachings with Jesus and all these masters they brought to us throughout time, and forget about the dogmas.
Yeah, like Kardec says here, the gospel can be divided into 5 parts. The events in the life of Christ, the miracles, the prophecies, the words taken by the church on which they base their dogmas, and the moral teachings.
That's what I said without,
all the 4 we said before the moral teachings, it's controversial. Like, he walked into the waters, he didn't walk into the waters. He made that prophecy, he did that prophecy because he needed to fulfill. He was
day, was night, was in the mountain or down the river.
Exactly. You know, like Jesus was he born in Judaism.
Some people say Nazareth, some people say Galilee.
Yeah,
Jerusalem.
Whatever the Jews.
Jerusalem.
Jewish. Jesus was Jewish, so in order to make the Jews believe, he needed to fulfill some prophecies, because that's what they believe. So, but this is controversial. But the moral teachings, nobody can deny it, and this is what Kardec discussed in the Gospel According to Spiritism. Don says here, yes, some of the concepts of afterlife are coming through Disney movies. Yes, we just see here Soul and Coco. Yeah, Coco and Soul are both good, of course. My Brazilian Spiritist friends are quite excited about them. Well, it is the beginning, Don. It is. We cannot say it's right or wrong. Like also we saw the movie Ghost, I don't know, 1990.
So many movies, about reincarnation, about spiritual life.
The movie Ghost. We have seen a lot of movies that are talking about afterlife, but it's something. If we follow the process we want to reinforce here, these bits and bits we are having now through movies, through books, through cartoons, we will build up a whole idea in a near future. Okay. A movie 1987, Made in Heaven, may be taken straight from the Spirit's book. Yeah, Made in Heaven. What's this movie?
I remember that word.
I go very quickly. Made in Heaven. Made in heaven.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. See, and this is not a movie from Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the ideas, guys. We want you. It was not well received. Yeah, 1887, 1987. Perhaps now people are more used to it. Like Chico Xavier, when he started giving his books, writing the books in 60s, he was not accepted.
Yeah.
You know, and people were seeing this, and now he is more accepted than before.
Yeah, Kardec explains to us that everything has its own time. So it's not because the teachings of Jesus came 2,000 years ago that humanity should be understanding right now. That would be the perfect idea. But Jesus understood that most of humanity wasn't ready to grasp certain things. So he knew what he said 2,000 years ago. People, they want to only start to understand more or less now. That's why the Gospel according to Spiritism, in the introduction, Kardec says that we are now in our mature stage of humanity. So we are not teenagers and childs anymore. Now humanity is adult. Kardec says the same in the Genesis. So now we are in the time to take the veil away. Now we are in the time to revealing what is truthful. And who wants to believe? Good. Who doesn't want to believe? It's okay. But now we cannot say, I didn't know. I didn't have any knowledge. Now we all have. I wasn't aware of. In the time of Jesus, we could say, oh, I wasn't aware of this. It wasn't from my tradition. But nowadays, the spirits, they say to us, it's impossible. All of us who are incarnated, 7.5 billion, I think, that we are on Earth now. All of us, Emmanuel says to us that all of us, we are a spirit who have reincarnated so many times on Earth in different cultures, in different countries, with different languages. No, so humanity is here. It's not here anymore. So now is the time of accepting or not accepting. It's up to us. But now we have the knowledge. How we're going to deal with that, it's up to us in the end of the day. It's up to our choice.
Yeah. So, wrapping up here, guys, because we have 2 minutes. This is the idea we want to give to you. Doesn't matter which philosophy you follow or you do. What the message we want to give you, we needed to take the principle of the message.
Yeah.
Last comment here from Don. Here in the U.S., we are building the foundation by anchoring the teachings here. Someday, people will start wanting more information, and the books in English will be available. That's it.
Oh yeah,
that's it. It's like what we are doing here in Ireland. Again, we will. Wanderley, like when I said this, we will not see many Irish people going to the Spirit Center, doing it. We will not see it.
No, we will see. No, we will see in the spiritual world because we're gonna be dead by this time.
I was saying this incarnation. This incarnation we won't see. But this is the beginning. This is what we are doing here. We are explaining. We are trying to make these lives in English, even though with our broken English here. We are doing the best as we can here in order to leave this material available to everyone in the future, and perhaps they're going to study, they're going to put the correct words, giving a better meaning, and then we click and someone wake up and that's it, But that's our mission here. That's your mission, Don. You already read the books, whatever. You are here with us with every Tuesday and Thursday. Many people is here with us as well. So we are doing our part. At least when with Scarnate, we can say, hey, I at least try it. We cannot say we did our job, but at least we can say, I start to try it.
We are the workers of the vineyard, like we have in the parable of Jesus. We may be working the vineyard, but we're not going to be seeing the wine red to be drunk. You know, we are just there planting the grapes. We are looking after the soil. You know, this time will come. You know, but it will come. That's it.
In other words, we are trying to make this better, because if you need to come back to the cave, at least we have some windows in the cave. You know, we have some electricity there, not just the fireplace. We're trying to make, we are trying here to improve our cave. That's what we are trying to do here. No, because if you need, I will return here. I need to come back here. So I need to come back in a better world, in a better place, in a better cave. So I'm doing my part. Yeah, so and absolutely. And in Dublin, one of better universities in the world, Oxford was rated #1. Yeah. Yeah, I think Oxford is not in Dublin, in Ireland. Oxford in
England, yeah.
London. Yeah.
Maybe he's talking about Trinity. Yeah.
In Dublin, we have Trinity College. Trinity College is in Dublin. Glaze says, step by step, exactly. No rush. Just doing our part. If not help someone here, we will help someone sometime. Okay, so let's do the final prayer. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Clayton, for your inputs here. Very well spot on. I hope you understood the analogy we were saying here. As I said at the beginning, we are not philosophers. We just try to give you what we have in our mind. And if this makes sense to you, happy days. If it doesn't make sense to you, no problem at all. We had your company here, and criticism is more than well accepted here as well. Okay? So I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. To all friends who are connected with us, the friends who will connect and see this video in the future. May this conversation here will help us to become a better person, to put our feet on the ground and understand what's our mission, what's our duty, and our purpose. At the same time, I would like to extend these good vibrations to all brothers and sisters who are suffering in the hospitals, alone at home, suffering in silence, with anxiety, with depression, those who are thinking about suicide. May this prayer reach them and somehow give some comfort, whatever they are. So be it. Amen. Okay, my friends, I'll see you Thursday with the part 3 of Tanya's talk about developing healthy young minds. And that's it. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for being here with us. I wish you a great rest of your day. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.